Welcome to PCWizKid's Tech Talk. Today we're looking at a coolermaster small form factor build bundle. That's right. I've got here from coolermaster the MASTERBOX NR200. A nice little compact case, minimalistic, clean designs, lots of room for customization and airflow. We're going to look at that along with the V650 SFX Gold. This nice little power supply is made to fit in small cases like this. Again, 80 plus certified, modular design. And the MASTERLIQUID ML240 mirror. Yes, it's unbelievable. This case will allow you to install this all-in-one liquid cooler. Very nice. I'm going to look at that in just a moment. We're going to install this in this case so you can see it. Now, what can I tell you first off about the NR200 case? The MASTERBOX series are just amazing. They really thought about everything in here and made it, most of all, very easy to install things. Here are the dimensions. You can pause the screen at any time. Comes with a 120 millimeter fan, optional to install at the top, or a 192 millimeter fan, which comes already installed at the back. Has different dry bay options. You can pause the screen there to see them. I'll be using an NVMe SSD on this system. You can see the cutouts and the holes there for that 92 millimeter fan at the rear that you can adjust and slide up and down. 3 PCI slots, of course, because I'm using a mini ITX board. I won't need more than that. Toolless design, so you don't need your screwdriver. Things snap out very nicely and hold on very tightly, so it's very well designed and construction on this. Popping the top cover to start off with things. You can see there at the top, you're going to have the buttons. One of them is the LED button that glows for the power. But on the inside here, you're going to see the two cutouts for two 120 millimeter fans that you can install at the top. Again, you already have one that it comes with, so you're good to go there to install one of those. And on the side panel, when you take this out, you're going to notice that all of those holes, yes, they are covered by a dust filter. So they do include dust filters on the side panels and on the bottom, so not just the top. And it reveals here that there's this brace. Look at that side extension there that goes from one end to the other. Well, that's for your all-in-one liquid cooler. The MASTERLIQUID ML240 mirror is going to be installed on this and held on the side panel. Okay, that's the best way that I recommend to install it, and we'll be looking at that in just a moment as well. Now, let's take a closer look at the inners of this case. You can see right off the bat on the top right corner, we've got a cage, right? That's the SFX power supply cage that's going to fit in there, right? So you can see that that will allow you to maneuver and access from the top, from the sides. You can get to the motherboard, and I recommend you install the mini ITX board in there first, so that is out of the way, and then you can get to installing everything else. At the bottom, you could install two slim 120 millimeter fans, by the way, as well. So, wow, you could really pack this up with lots of fans going on in there. The other side, taking out the other side panel, reveals also a dust filter, which is removable. Of course, all these dust filters are removable. Cut out there for the motherboard so you can access the CPU cooler installation. And lots of options, of course, for your cable management, because you want to keep things nice and tidy. With the V650 SFX power supply, you'll be able to do that because it's modular. The bottom portion, like I said, allows you optionally to install fans. I won't be installing any fans at the bottom yet. I'm just going to snap this out so you can see a little bit better what I'm talking about. Okay, so removable dust filter at the bottom, but you can see there that there's all these holes that allow you to basically fasten your additional fans should you decide to install some slim 120 millimeter fans at the bottom. And well, good rubber feet, no vibrations going to happen there on that, which is nice. The case itself, nice clean design, just like the front panel shows. And if I take that front panel out, well, it's actually clean on the rear as well, because there's nothing happening here. There's no LEDs, there's no cables, nothing. There's a little bit of room. You would think that you could install a fan in there, but no, that's just for the airflow to come in. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the front portion. I mean, you could install the SFX power supply on the front part of it. Actually, I've tried to hook it up on there, but I don't know why you would necessarily want that. In my case, I won't be using that. I'll be using it the way it comes out of the box. But all the options are specified in this manual. So very nicely done by coolermaster to facilitate things should you have different types of things in mind when it comes to installing it. The accessories box comes with the 120 millimeter fan ready to go, okay? And you could just install this fan, like I mentioned, at the top. This is not a slim fan, it's just a standard one. And comes with the connector there. Should you decide to install two of these, so you'll have to purchase a second fan yourself, well, it comes with all the necessary hardware for that as well. And if you decide to install SSDs or any other type of hardware for your storage, well, you've got some screws and things like that as well included in there. Now, it's funny that you've got the splitter cable here for two fans. Even though they don't give you two fans, they're really hinting to install two. And there's a bracket that is going to hold the graphics card in place, or whatever it is that you install on the system, depending on the orientation of things. And, well, like I said, it's funny that they facilitated and thought about the future. In case you install two fans, you've got the options right there, along with the twist ties to keep all your cables neat and tidy. You don't want things hitting the fans, so that's why they've included those protectors there, the metal protection. Now we're going to be installing in here the power supply, the V650 SFX Gold power supply. Again, this is made to fit in cases like these. Modular cabling, which is flat, very nice standard cabling, nothing out of the ordinary with that, but it comes with a 92 millimeter fan built in inside of that. Here are all the cables and the quantities of those cables. In case you're wondering, you can pause the screen and take a look at that. And the power supply itself, nothing again out of the ordinary. You've got that 92 millimeter fan. You've seen this type of design before. It's got a nice brushed look on that black finish, and labeled very nicely the modular connections there, so you can't really go wrong when it comes to installing this. So pretty straightforward when it comes to installing things with things labeled nicely. Now, like I mentioned, this has a single 12-volt rail that is 54.1 amps. Okay, so lots of strength and power here on this 650 watt power supply. So I'll be using this actually to do some overclocking to show you guys this PSU in action, making this a high-end PC, believe it or not, in a compact space. So you can really make this into a beast, a silent killer. Now, I've already taken out the two screws that hold this cage in place for your power supply. When you get it, you might think, oh, great, I'll just put the power supply in there, attach the 4 screws, and I'm good to go. Well, yeah, that's true. You could do that. I mean, it does look like you just put it in there like that, face it up, and that's it. You know, the bottom portion, you've got your cables, and on the top portion, you plug in your power cable and attach the 4 screws, and you're good to go, right? Well, if you do that, now the fan is going to be facing the inside of the case. So you don't want to do that, right? You want to face the fan outside. And that's what I did here. So once I installed it, put it on the hinges, the fan is going to blow the hot air out on the side, which is the way you want it. Inside of the case is going to be cool air blowing. And you can see there's lots of space for the radiator and also for the cables. Everything is going to be neatly organized and put to the sides and on the bottom. So lots of room also for the graphics card as well. You're going to see that. Don't worry. I've got another video coming up that's going to have all of that working. Now the MASTERLIQUID ML240 mirror, of course, RGB on the pump there. Beautiful mirror finish on that. And your favorite AMD or Intel CPU will install in there. You can pause the screen here to look at the specs on this. Comes with two 120 millimeter fans rated at 650 to 800 RPM, plus or minus 5%. Uses total, the pump, about 2.36 watts. You can see that right there as well. And, well, how would you install this? Well, like I showed you earlier, this has all the necessary hardware for Intel or AMD. Okay, it's just a matter of taking the required screws that it comes with and installing it properly. First, when you look at it, you think, oh, this fits exactly right at the bottom of the case. And in some customizations, you might think, oh, well, maybe if I had the room, I could fasten it down there and maybe have the air flow going in a certain direction and have it at the bottom. But really, Cooler Masters thought about putting this on the side panel best, and it does make sense to me when I installed it. I would prefer that you installed it using this side panel approach, so you would basically fasten the screws to attach to that panel as such, and have the fans blowing the air out of the case. Again, we don't want heat inside the case. We want to blow things out of the case, so the air inside has to be nice and cool. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to have the flow of air that is in the case cool, blowing all the heat out. And here's a closer look at now the radiator with the fans and the power supply, everything installed. Of course, you would have the your mini ITX board installed in there first, and installed in a certain steps, right? But I wanted to show you these three items from Cooler Master all installed, so you can get an idea on this little bundle. It can get you started on your ultimate little build of a machine that's really gonna, fly. When you see this running, wow, the temperatures are awesome, really low, considering that I'll be overclocking this to the max. That's right, overclocking it. What am I doing? Well, first things first. How much does it cost, right? $99 US on Newegg.com right now as of the end of March 2021. The PSU around the ballpark, around $128 US. Of course, some dealers, some manufacturers, things can vary in price depending on where you shop. But online at Newegg.com, that's what I'm finding right now. Okay. And coming up next, I'm going to put all this together. Beautiful Asus ROG Strix Z or Z490i gaming motherboard. That mini ITX board just rocks with the EVGA 3060 Ti graphics card. Wow, this thing is a screamer with an Intel Core i5 10600KF overclocked to 5.1 gigahertz. Yep, you heard me. Everything is going to be running at 5.1 gigahertz with 64 gigs of RAM of Patriot Viper Gaming. This thing is a silent killer. Like I said, it's beautiful. I like to thank Cooler Master for getting this going, getting this build going with these parts. Comment below, let me know what you think, and stay tuned for part 2. Thank you for watching.